ready to go on a hike?
Yeah. Wow.
Super cool.
These are hugely important. If you're taking a kid on a hike, bring snacks. Otherwise, there will be absolute hell.
This is our little update for Olivia. The weather today is about 60, 65 down in the valley, but it's going to drop as we start hiking up. But it is a little bit warmer today, but you want to make sure you still bundle up your kids because they're not breaking a sweat from exercising. And so for Olivia, underneath she's wearing fleece pajamas, and then she's got socks underneath. And then she's got this full body fleece suit on with a hood, which is actually Evelyn's, so it's a little big for her because it's an 18-month-old. That's what you get when you're a second child, is all the hand-me-downs and unfitted clothes, but it works. She's all bundled up. And also we have this binky on her. She's not a huge binky taker, but you know, have something to keep them occupied. And then the carrier that we're using, she's still pretty little, so my favorite one is the Ergo Baby 360, and I love it because you can use it as they grow. I've been using this ever since she was a newborn. It has a little insert for it for when they're a newborn. They can be right up against your chest, and as they grow, it changes position. So they're up against your chest, and then they can face out, and then they can be on your back or even on your hip. But this time, Olivia is about 6.5 months. She can sit up on her own and hold her head up really good. So this will be our first hike, trying it out with her on my back. And that's nice because it's not quite as hot. You can see more because then you can see your feet, which is nice for hiking because if you're jumping on rocks, you have to be careful and stuff. And I just feel like the weight's a lot distributed better on the back. So I'm going to show you how I do it if you're by yourself, how you get them on your back. So the carrier is just attached to my waist, and then I have her against my chest. And then what I'm going to do is wrap my arm around her securely, and then kind of guide the carrier by the hip and just kind of rotate it. And then with this arm, I'm going to reach back and grab the arm and put it over my arm while my arm is still holding her. And then I'm going to put my arm over her head, and this is still attached, and just kind of like jump like that. And you want to make sure you're holding this tight because you want to make sure they're safe. And then you slide your arm up and in, and then you just kind of wiggle them into place. And then it has a clip up front that you just clip them in. So there she is.
There she is. We're going to put a hat on her because the sun is a little bright today, just to make sure she doesn't get sunburned. But
yep.
Perfect.
So it's pretty easy. You can get them on your back by yourself. And she is ready to go.
Today we're going to be out on a lot of exposed face. We're hiking in a canyon called Grove Creek, and so there's not very many trees. It's really open, and so what I really like, so the bag I'm going to be using today is called a Deuter Kid Comfort 3. What I like about it is this actually covers Evelyn's face, so she's not going to get sunburned. Now, I brought a lot of stuff. Natalie knows this about me. I'm a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, so I always try to be prepared. So I bring a couple of different things with me. I really like, it's kind of funny, this is like a small feature, but I actually love this pocket because I'm obsessed with not losing my keys, and so I always put them in the same place. So I'm able to put my keys, my wallet, and my pocket knife right in here. One thing that is important, this is my own personal preference, but I always bring a pocket knife. They can come into a lot of different uses, so it's good to bring those on hikes, even if you're going on a small one. Now, what I like about this, as you can see, Evelyn has room. She's pretty tight in here, but she's got enough room where she's not going to be sweating and squished up against the back of the bag. Now, things that you need to bring on this hike. So, I've got a couple of things here. First of all, bring snacks. If you want your kids to not hate you and hate hiking, bring snacks for them. Make sure that they've got plenty to eat. And then I just bring a little teeny first aid kit. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. It's got a few band-aids and a few different things in here, just in case, you know, some Neosporin, stuff like that. Pretty easy stuff. And I just made this myself. It didn't take very long. I've got crackers, and I've also got, this is just for us because we're filming, I brought a battery pack. These, once again, only weighs a couple of ounces, but this has enough juice in it that we can continue to film without running out of battery, which we have before. I brought a couple of different things. I brought some protein for me and Natalie, brought some stuff like that, and then I brought these. This is a really cheap one, but it's great. So this allows you to drink right out of rivers. You just put it in, you can drink right out of it. So I always pack one of these because they don't weigh anything, and they're cheap. They cost 20 bucks. You can go pick them up at Cabela's. Pretty easy stuff. Now back here, now this is one thing that people always forget about when they go hiking. You want to make sure to bring water. So one thing I really like about the Juter is I have a lot of packing space here. So, you know, I'm able to bring, I brought a little bit of trail mix. I'm able to bring, I've got 2 Nalgene bottles with 32 ounces. You can buy these on Amazon. They're like 15 bucks. And they last a long time. As you can see, I've melted mine a few times at campouts. And then I brought 1 beanie just to be safe, just to make sure that I have enough. And then I've got extra packing right up here where I've got diapers for both the girls and I have wipes. So it's really important just to remember these little things, because if you don't have them and you get on the mountain and you don't think about it, you can get into a really crappy place and have a bad experience rather than a good one. So Evelyn has been so patient, so we're about ready to get rolling. Last thing I want to talk about though is on the backpack you can set up different sizes. So as you can see right here, if you're a shorter person, you're going to go down in size so that it's not so it doesn't hurt your back. Now I'm not a big guy, but this is a medium-sized backpack, so I went up a little bit higher just so that it fits me and what I want to do. And that's about it. We're ready to get hiking today. So it's kind of funny because you start to get used to it. I actually don't remember what it was like hiking with a light backpack anymore. If I'm hunting or if I'm hiking, I'm usually carrying a pretty big bag. So there's a lot of, you know, work out those glutes, get the bum looking good for the wifey. But it is bright out today, so, you know, we make sure to wear a hat or bring sunglasses. You know, you only get 1 pair of eyes, so try to keep them protected.
Alright, we're starting now. The beginning of this hike is the hardest part because it's pretty steep. So just know once you get past the steep part that you're past the hardest part.
About the first probably 3/4 of a mile, you do about 1,000 feet in elevation. So it's pretty gnarly for the first little bit, and it's pretty ugly.
Yeah.
It's kind of an ugly hike, which frankly we kind of like because that means less people hike up here.
Yeah.
But because it is exposed and pretty ugly for the first little bit, but after that it's worth it.
And what we mean by ugly is like, yeah, just exposed, it's pretty dry and like gray and brown. But yeah, like Dave said, after that you get to see like a really good view. It's a really pretty view of the valley, and then it switches back and goes deep into the canyon, and we'll show you that.
Yeah.
You got like 30 pounds on your back. We did it!
Yay!
Past the hardest part. Now it's pretty much flat. Well, not flat, but just a steady, slow
We
incline.
only got one more berm. Remember that one last spot? Right before it levels off at the very top?
Oh, okay.
That's it.
One last.
2 of the 3 hard parts are done.
I think that one we just did was the hardest.
Yeah. Should we double check on the zombie? I don't know if you guys can see that.
Snoozing.
She's just snoozing. Happy as a clam.
Pretty comfortable having her on my back.
Yeah. Oh, it looks great. I always like looking at your back.
Both of our girls decided it was time for a nap.
One thing that's always important is not take the time to enjoy the views that are off trail. This one's a really easy one to get to. But we don't just hike to get to the top. Hike to enjoy it.
They're girls that are sound asleep.
We've got the third and final terrible part of this hike. It's really steep, but then we've got beautiful views and it's pretty well flat after that. Oh, Natalie, drink up.
Here I go.
This part reminds me of Lord of the Rings. As you can see, especially during the summer, you start to get quite a bit of shade because these bushes will be filled up with leaves. But one part is this is starting to get a lot greener. So you can see we've got some evergreens and we've got some pine trees across the way there. And it just starts to get a lot greener and prettier.
This hike is a lot of cliffs, which is really cool to look at. But no kids under 5 without a backpack because you don't want to worry about kids falling off a cliff. So strapped to you, you're good. Just be careful. You get a lot of really cool views.
Waterfall sighting number 2.
You like the waterfall, Evelyn? Is it pretty?
sit down.
Made it to the little bridge. Even in the winter, you can find some green moss. And then there's a bunch of snow higher. The little bridge. There she is. There she is. All wide-eyed, looking around. Her first time being on my back. And she is doing so good. So good. That face. Hiking fuel, some good nuts and dried fruit. Evelyn loves it too.
Yeah, she's feeding the Evelyns in their natural habitat. She looks like she gained her trust.
You like it, Evelyn?
Yeah.
Over here.
You like it?
Yeah.
And Olivia did so good. Ah.
This is the last of the road. Got one little baby with her eyes open.
She did so good.
We've got another one concerned about the balloons that were gone. There you go. There you go. There's the back of the trail. So that was a fun time though. We had a really good, fun hike.
We made it back, and Olivia didn't complain once the whole time. We hiked for 3 hours, and she was just on my back. It was her first time on my back, and she did so good. You did so good. Yeah, she loved looking around and sleeping. So I think she's gonna be a hiker.
All right, all done with our first hike of the season this year. And we're gonna give you our rating. So from a 1 out of 10 for difficulty, we put this at like a 6.5, 7, right around there. Pretty high elevation. You do anywhere, it's between 1,500 and 2,000 feet of elevation climb.
And it's just a burner at the front, like,
Yeah,
it is just really intense.
bun melter. That's what it is. Yeah, and so that's, so number 1, hazardous. Number 2 is kid friendly. So this is one we would rate it in terms of bringing kids on it. 1 being you can totally bring kids and they can hike themselves. 10 being you probably shouldn't bring kids. We put it at like, once again, like a 6.57. Unless your kid's about 6 years old, they shouldn't be out of your backpack aside from when you get to the bridge.
Because there's just a lot of cliffs on this hike, which is really cool to see. And you can have kids with you if they're on your back, if you've got young kids, but you won't want them walking around hiking on their own if they're little.
Yep. And then the last one, or maybe there's another one after this, but is the beauty of the hike. So that's just our own personal preference, I guess. This hike is kind of ugly at the beginning. For the first about mile, it's pretty ugly, and then it gets really, really pretty. So we're going to rate that as well a 7 out of 10. So pretty up there, definitely.
A good challenging hike, and you get rewarded because it is really cool with all the cliffs and the waterfalls at the end, but you just gotta burn through it in the beginning.
yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, so then that earns it a overall rating of 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely suggest this hike. It's if you're living in the Utah Valley area, Grove Creek is not a far drive. It's up in Pleasant Grove, and you can go straight from the parking lot, and there's no cost. I guess that was the last one. The dollar amount is 0.
It's free.
Yep, it's free, and so public land.
Not very busy either.
Nope, nobody likes to do it because it's ugly at the beginning.
And hard.
Yeah. So you don't run into as many people, which we kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely suggest this hike, though. Get out there, as always, and make sure that you're having fun and get out and hike today. See ya.